What's up, everybody? It's your favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Skullface, or maybe a bit older Skullface. Today we're going to be talking about Michael Bay produced Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that's in the movie theater right now. We always do it the same way, right? We do the good, the bad, and the ugly. But just as an introduction, I've been a Ninja Turtle fan since this era. This is old school right here, Jack. I like the early cartoon, and I like the early figures. I like those Nika figures, and I'd love to start collecting those classics. I just don't know if it's in the budget. I got so much stuff going on. But I've been a fan for a long time. My favorite turtle is Raphael. I actually personally think you can tell a lot about a person by their favorite turtle. Like, I ask people all the time when I first meet them, you know, when people are like, you know, what are your hobbies or interests? And I'm like, what's your favorite turtle, buddy? Michelangelo. Fair enough. I know you can't be trusted with anything or given any responsibility. I kid. But there is some truth to it, right? And my favorite turtle is Raphael. Always has been. I think it's his nature to want to buck the system, I think. And perhaps tell it how it is. Anyway, let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, okay? In order for me to really do this, I gotta tell you, this is a bad movie, okay? It's not good. It's not a good movie. It's not. But I really enjoyed it. I got in an argument with a couple guys recently over Pacific Rim, which is also a terrible movie. I don't care what anybody says. Terrible. Horrendous. And I did not enjoy that movie. But I told them, because people's argument, you see, the people are, and this is not a knock to my buddies, of course, okay? You know, they know I respect them and love them and all that, but a friend of mine once said, people don't want freedom. They want more cable channels and faster pizza delivery. And I kind of feel like that plays into the film genre as well. It is possible for a movie to be bad and for you to enjoy it. The same way it's possible for a record to be bad and for you to enjoy it. There's plenty of terrible music that I love. I know it's bad, but I love it. Stan Bush's You Got the Touch. Need I say more? I say that to say this. I really enjoyed this film, and it's really not a good movie. And it's okay to admit that. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is because you like something, you try to convince yourself and others that it's good, when chances are one doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the other. Not a thing. So, the good. The Turtles are maybe perfect. If not perfect, close to it. I saw it with my childhood friend, this guy Adam. He was saying, when we walked out of there, it was exactly what he expected. I was hoping, maybe not expecting, but I was hoping for a little bit more. You know, I said the Turtles were perfect. He said, oh, they were perfect. And he was like, do me a favor, when you do your review, mention that I said they're Heath Ledger Dark Knight perfect. Now, those are big words, and I'm not sure that I agree, but I think that it's in the ballpark. Like, the Turtles are enjoyable. Leonardo is the strong leader type, without coming across like a wimp or like a whiny brat. He comes across like a guy who is striving for confidence and striving to lead his brothers into whatever challenges they may face. Raphael is the guy who's bucking the system. He's the guy who is maybe not meant for teamwork. He's the guy who has a very specific, certain way that he wants to do business. And to hell with anybody who tries to get in the way of that. You know, and that's Raphael. Michelangelo is like the comic relief, and he's the fun guy, and he's the guy that has a hard time taking anything seriously. And I got news for you. I've never cared for Michelangelo. I know he's a necessary part and an important part, component-wise, to the four brothers, but I've never cared for him. I've never found anything that he did necessarily funny, with the exception of maybe the old 80s movie, when he was like, ah, fellow chucker, eh? Like, I found that funny for whatever reason. It spoke to my sensibilities. He's hysterical in this film. Every time he opens his mouth, I want to laugh. He's what I want Michelangelo to be. He's always... You know, he's a step above my expectations of what Michelangelo is. Donatello. You know, if people are complaining about the gadgetry and all that, who cares? I think it looks great. You know, and I understand that it's not just a purple mask and some armbands, but, you know, it speaks more to his personality. Theoretically, why would they all wear just knee pads, elbow pads, and a mask? You know, why wouldn't they try to incorporate more of their personality into it? I incorporate more of my personality into the way I dress or carry business. Like, you know, I don't do much. You know, that's why I wear a robe all the time. They made him, like, scrawnier than the other turtles, which I like. You know, like, while they're all training and carrying on, he was doing research or tinkering or whatever, and that's cool. It's cool that he's not the same size. The CGI looks great. The CGI on the turtles looks great. They look like they have weight. They move fluently. The fighting scenes are believable. It looks like they have impact. It's all done really well in that regard. The Turtles themselves are magnetic. I mean, you're captivated by them when you see them. Between their banter, the dialogue, and their movements and their actions, like, you can't help but want to keep your eyes glued to them, which is what they should be. And it's well done. It's hard for 4 CGI characters to carry the weight of a movie. But they can do it. And they could do it even more than what they did if they really wanted to. I would imagine that cost plays a part in that, but I'm not sure. What it comes down to is brotherhood. Brotherhood is a theme that speaks to me, right? Being there for one another, you know, and recognizing the importance of family and that dynamic, and being loyal to yourselves and to each other, and all those sorts of kind of concepts that come along with family, and especially within brothers or brotherhood within a family. And that's the most important thing of the Turtles to me. They pay homage to that, which is cool. There's some Easter eggs in there. There's some homages to both the cartoon and to the original live-action film, which is great. But with the good must come the bad. There's plenty of bad. The story itself is kind of silly. Everything is extremely convenient. The Turtles are conveniently attached to April. April is conveniently attached to the antagonist. The antagonist is conveniently attached to another antagonist, who is in turn conveniently attached to the Turtles, and it's like, it's all a little too much serendipity, if you know what I'm saying. It's like an action movie equivalent of The Notebook or something. It comes across forced and unnatural. And part of the problem with that is that they played with the origin. You don't around with the origin. That's an issue. Look, these Hollywood people, they're out of control. The longer you give that leash, the more they'll run with it. And I got news for you. They usually run right off a cliff. Turtles in Time, Punisher War Journal, Amazing Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3, Transformers, all of them, G.I. Joe, both of them, Elektra, Daredevil. If you let them have this kind of freedom, they'll go crazy. Because they don't know. And the truth is that these characters have been successful for years. And you know why they've been successful for years? Because they haven't tried to reinvent the wheel. They made something that was good, that resonated with people, and people responded to it. So who the f are you to come in and think that you know so much better and can change that? When your career is laughable in comparison to the amount of time that these characters have been around. And that goes for the comic book characters, the Turtles, the Transformers, whoever. Their longevity towers over your career. And it's usually for the same reasons, that it works. And when it works, why try to fix it? But these Hollywood people are so arrogant that they think that they know what's better for you. So they take these steps to make changes, and the changes are rarely good. Every now and then they are, but they're rarely good. If you're not true to the spirit of the characters, you've already failed. And the origin is the most important thing in defining who these characters are. Megan Fox is in it. And you know, I wasn't that guy. Like, everybody got all upset on the internet, like how internet people tend to do. Megan Fox, what are they doing? They're ruining it. And I was like, it's April, who cares? I get to look at Megan Fox for an hour and a half or whatever. Like, you know, it doesn't sound too hateful. Turns out I was wrong. She is really a bad actress. She's easy on the eyes. You'd notice her in a mall. And for all you people that are like, oh, she's not attracted to me. I mean, I hear you. She irritates me too, buddy. You know, it's like Kim Kardashian or whoever. They irritate me as well. I'm with you, okay? I'm one of the people. I'm here with you. But I got news for you. She's better than the girl you dated that used to work at Sears. I'm talking to you. And if she was in the mall, you'd notice her. Say what you want. Tell your friends whatever. But when it's just you and I talking, it's a safe place. And I want you to know that I know. And it's okay. It doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you human. But she's a terrible actress. And it never rings so true as it does in this movie. It's bad. It's bad. She's bad in it. And there's like the over-the-top, gratuitous, objectifying scene with her in it and all that. And fine. Okay. Whatever sells you a ticket, buddy. The plot itself is kind of a house of cards. And it will fail under any sort of scrutiny, I guarantee you. The moment that you start asking questions, you'll realize just how terrible the movie is. It doesn't stand up to scrutiny at all. So my advice is, forget about the plot. Just enjoy turtles doing turtle things and you'll have a good time. Another thing that irritated me was, there seems to be no solidarity between Shredder and the Foot Clan. You don't really get the feeling that they're part of this, that he's like the leader of this organization. It's not portrayed well. it's kind of like these three separate entities acting independently on their own for the same thing. You know, the white guy, the Shredder, and then there's the Foot Clan, and they're all on the same team, but there's no really connectivity between the three, I feel like, that comes across. As far as the ugly of it, it really comes down to two things. Shredder and Splinter. Neither of them are done horribly, but neither of them are quite right either, and for very different reasons. While the CGI is top-notch, the actual character design for Splinter, not for me. Kind of gives me the creeps. Kind of freaks me out a little bit. Not sure I care for it. He looks like a dirty rat, I guess, but he also kind of looks like the little like beaked turtle monsters from Dark Crystal, or like a meth addict. You know the expression when people say you're crazy as a shithouse rat? That's the rat they're referring to. I'm not sure I care for the design. He is a badass though. He is a martial arts master. However, the reason why he became a martial arts master has nothing to do with the origin where he was watching his master or whatever, and yes, that's extreme. But the way that they explain it in this movie is even worse. I'm going to give a little bit of a spoiler. The spoiler is just in regard to how he becomes a master of ninjutsu. He finds a book in a sewer and practices it. Have you ever known anybody, that picked up a book and became a master of something without any sort of proper instruction or guidance? It's just not how things work. And these aren't like rough and tumble and get the job done ninja fighter. Like, these are like expert martial artists. From reading a book? So if I go read a book about SEAL Team 6, I can go around and be like a military badass? Probably not. I get my mission, I gotta run there. Half a mile into the run, I'm gonna be like, call my mom, call my mom. Doesn't matter how many books I read. Shredder looks like a transformer. It's not as hateful as I initially thought. Because my initial concern was that the white guy, I forget his name, that he was going to be the Shredder. And that kind of bothered me. Because then I imagine, like, Shredder having, like, a mocha latte in downtown Manhattan. You know, like the guy at Starbucks is always asking for your name so you can call it out. So the white guy's, like, there, I imagine, like, the other antagonist, the guy that knew April's father in the trailers. You know, and I just imagine in my head, like, okay, and one large mocha latte, or one venti mocha latte, and what is with that? You guys gotta be, everybody's gotta be so different. Just say a large. Grow up. But anyway, one venti mocha latte, sir, and may I get your name? Yeah, dude, totally you can get my name. It's Hiroko Saki. And then, like, the barista at Starbucks is like, really? Well, yeah, my mother was Irish. And your father? Wasn't. Which is a reference to The Ref, if you've ever seen it. Anyway, he's not that bad. He's actually, like, they pay homage a little bit to the character of Hiroko Saki and all that, but the suit is just a bit much. Like, he's wearing, like, Megatron's suit with Grimlock's mouth, and it just reeks of Michael Bay. It just, I can smell it. It smells like a bag of armpits. It smells like a bag of armpits in a dump truck. It smells like a bag of armpits in a dump truck on a hot day. It smells like a bag of armpits in a dump truck on a hot day in a swamp. I actually have some funnier ones, but I gotta draw the line somewhere and show a little couth. Speaking of Michael Bay vibes, so that's the down and dirty of it. Overall, it's a bad movie. It's not good. The origin's off, April's off, Shredder's off, Splinter's off, the story itself is off. There's a comic relief character that is totally unneeded. Because Michelangelo serves properly as the comic relief character. So he's just kind of shoehorned in because every Michael Bay film has to have one. And I know he didn't direct it, but he produced it, which is just as bad, if not worse. Loosely put together, the plot is a mess, but the Turtles are so good, so fun to watch, and so enjoyable that I like it. I like the movie. I like a bad movie. I do. And I got news for you. It ain't the first bad movie I've ever liked. That doesn't make me a bad person. It doesn't make the movies good. You see what I'm saying? The same way it doesn't make me a bad person is the same way it doesn't make those movies good. But half the battle is being able to admit to yourself, okay, it's not good, but I like it. And that's what this movie is. 6 out of 10, and worth seeing if you're a Turtle fan. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Till next time, take care.